Hi, this is Dr. Warren, Program Chair of the Masters in Teaching and Learning with Technology at Ashford University, and I'd like to continue the discussion of EDU602 and talking about the backward design process and using the backward design worksheet. So as we mentioned earlier, the backward design process is where you begin with the end in mind. You start with that vision of what your final assessment is going to be, and that final assessment will represent all the goals and objectives that you set out for your students to learn. Okay, and so when they complete that final assessment, they will have they will have demonstrated that they have learned everything you wanted them to learn in your course. Okay, once you have that final assessment, then it becomes easy to know what other assignments you need to put in your course and activities to build to them accomplishing that final assessment. So it helps you design courses very efficiently, saves a lot of time. So the backward design process is going to be your best friend. You need to invest the energy into thinking about your course using this backward design worksheet. Okay, so what I'd like to do is go get that worksheet, and we'll take a look at it together. Okay, so let's go to this one, and this is your backward design worksheet. Now, backward design strategy, instructional design strategy, was developed in the 90s, and there's 3 stages, not just 2, but for this class, we're just going to do stages 1 and 2, and where you think about what you're going to develop in your online class, and then stage 3 is actually building those lessons, and that you're going to do in the next class, EDU601. Okay, so as you think about this backward design worksheet, this is more about just developing your ideas for your online class. Now, in this worksheet, you're going to put your topic and your target audience here. You already have all that, and you're going to put your module learning outcomes for module 1 and 2 here. So that you have, okay? That part's done. What are some big ideas that I want them to be able to understand about my class on let's see here, what would be a good one? On conflict resolution. If I was teaching a class on conflict resolution, what would be some big ideas? Well, some big ideas would be that we want to de-escalate they need to know how to de-escalate a situation. They need to know how to talk empathically or active listening with the people in the environment in the middle of the conflict, right? They need to be able to put aside their biases and assumptions and expectations, come in with an open mind. Those are the kind of big ideas, assumptions and ideas that you want your students to get. Now, if you have a simple class like something like how to make a t-shirt, well, you want your students using a vinyl t-shirt, how to make a vinyl t-shirt. Then you'd want your students to be able to use the cutter, the equipment, so the cutting equipment. You'd want your students to be able to use the heat press machine. You'd want them to be able to design a pattern that would be appropriate for a vinyl t-shirt. Okay, so those are the kind of understandings around something like that. Then if they understood those things, then what would they be able to do? And sometimes this starts to get repetitive. If you're talking about a t-shirt, then they would be able to use the cutter. They'd be able to use the design machine. They'd be able to press the design appropriately and with high quality for the right amount of time, okay? And then we've got the performance tasks. What I'm going to do is take you to a real example so that you can see kind of how this works. So let me grab that. Okay. So this is a class here we go. This is a career class, okay, where learners are, this is a class where learners explore careers and come up with ideas for careers of interest. They're high school seniors or college freshmen, okay? So they're researching a career. and coming up with a way that, a path for how they're going to get there, okay? So here's the module learning outcomes. They're going to come up with a chosen career path and develop a plan for getting to that career path. And they're going to be able to develop a resume cover letter and obtain some references, okay? What are the essential concepts you want learners to understand? Well, we want them to understand how to research a career, that there's a path to achieving a career of interest, right? Like I can actually follow I can actually follow a path to getting to my career of interest. There's steps to getting to my career of interest, okay? Resumes can be written differently for different job goals, okay? I want them to understand that there's different types of resumes to highlight the qualities of the candidate. And I want them to really know what are the steps. Is there education required? Is there, who you know? Do you have to move to that location? So there's steps to getting your career, okay? So those are kind of some of the big concepts that I want my learners to understand. If they understand those things, then what would they be able to do? What would that look like? They would be able to visit job boards and government sites to research careers. They'd be able to identify key skills for a job of interest, explore the types of organizations that hire in that field. They'd be able to map a career path and develop a resume and cover letter. And this is where things start to blur. So we've got this evidence, and now we want to look at tasks. So sometimes this starts to get kind of repetitive. So if they're visiting job boards and government sites, then they're going to be able to select a career of interest, okay? And they're going to be able to map at least 8 steps to achieving that desired career and develop 2 types of resumes for 2 types of jobs, okay? And they'll be able to develop a 10-year career plan. And I've got something kind of duplicated here. So you can kind of see how the things start to blur. It's okay if they're repetitive, it's okay. But really, you're starting to kind of go from things that they know and can understand to things that they're doing. What are they doing? Okay, so that's kind of what this worksheet is. If you use it right, this worksheet will be a friend to you. It's going to help you really get into the details of what your students are going to be able to do in your online class. Okay, so let's go back to the classroom. So that's what you're doing in this week 1, and in week 2, you're going to then go even more deeper into those tasks. Okay, you're going to really look at those tasks that you came up with at the bottom of the Backward design sheet, and you're going to elaborate on those and make them bigger and richer, getting to week 3, which takes you to that authentic assessment, that big final project in your online class that your learners are going to be able to do, that is grounded in the real world. It's rich, it's complex, and it demonstrates all the learning outcomes that you designed in your in the previous class. Okay, hope that makes sense. As you start to dig into it, it'll start to become clearer, and some of the things that I said here will start to ring a bell for you. Okay, and your instructor is always there for you to help you out. All right, so that's it for week 1, and all the best. Welcome to the class.